Captain Hyunwoo Kim sat in his worn leather chair on the bridge of the cargo ship Seoul Express. The ship was not pretty to look at. Its hull had patches of metal welded over old damage. Paint peeled off in several places. The engines made strange noises that worried most people, but Hyunwoo knew those sounds meant everything was working fine. Today was supposed to be simple. Load mining equipment at Earth Station Alpha, fly to Mars Colony 7, drop off the equipment. Get paid, go home. Hyunwoo had done this run 50 times before. Nothing ever went wrong on milk runs like this? Captain, we are ready for the jump to Mars, said So-Young Park from her navigator station. She was young, maybe 25, and very smart with numbers. Sometimes too smart. She liked to add extra calculations to make their trips faster or use less fuel. Coffee first, Hyunwoo said. He poured hot coffee from his thermos into a metal cup. The coffee was strong and black the way he liked it. Mars will wait 5 more minutes. So-Young smiled and picked up her own coffee cup. She had added too much sugar again. Hyunwoo could smell the sweetness from across the bridge. As she reached for her keyboard to input the final jump coordinates, her elbow hit the cup. Hot, sugary coffee spilled across her control panel. Oh no, So-Young grabbed a towel and started wiping the coffee away. Some of it had dripped into the gaps between keys. Sorry, Captain. Give me a minute to clean this up. Take your time, Hyunwoo said. He was not worried. Spilled coffee was normal on cargo ships. Everything got spilled on cargo ships. Coffee, soup, oil, coolant fluid. The Seoul Express had been through worse. So-Young cleaned her keyboard and checked her screens. The numbers looked right to her. She had calculated this jump to Mars hundreds of times. The coordinates were simple. Even with coffee on her keyboard, she could do this with her eyes closed. All set, Captain, she said. Jump in 10 seconds. Hyunwoo nodded and pressed the button for ship-wide communications. Attention, crew. Hyperspace jump in 5 seconds. Hold on to something. The Seoul Express shook as its old engines powered up. Blue light filled the windows as space twisted around them. For 3 seconds, they were nowhere and everywhere at the same time. Then the light faded and they were somewhere else. Jump complete, So-Young said. She looked at her screens to see where they had arrived. We should be in Mars orbit in about... Wait. Her face went pale. Captain, this is not Mars. Hyunwoo looked out the main window. Mars was supposed to be a small red planet with 2 tiny moons. Instead, he saw a massive space station that looked like a metal city. Around it, dozens of huge warships floated in perfect formation. Each warship was at least 10 times bigger than the Seoul Express. So-Young, where are we? Hyunwoo asked. He kept his voice calm, but inside he was starting to worry. I don't know, So-Young said. Her hands moved quickly over her keyboard, checking and double-checking her calculations. The coordinates should have taken us to Mars, but this is definitely not our solar system. The biggest warship began moving toward them. It was painted dark purple and gold, with weapons that could probably destroy a small moon. Lights flashed along its hull in patterns that might have been some kind of signal. Captain, said Jin-Ho Lee over the radio from mission control back on Earth. We are getting some very strange readings from your position. Are you okay out there? We are fine, Jin-Ho, Hyunwoo replied. But we seem to have taken a wrong turn somewhere. Can you tell us where we are? Working on it, Jin-Ho said. But our star charts don't match anything you should be seeing. It's like you jumped into completely unknown space. The huge warship was getting closer. Lights on its front were blinking in a pattern that looked like it might be trying to communicate. Hyunwoo had never seen alien ships before, but he was pretty sure these were not human. So-Young, can we jump back home? He asked. I need a few minutes to calculate the return jump, she said. The coffee spill might have affected my original calculations. I want to double-check everything. The alien warship stopped about 1 kilometer away from the Seoul Express. It was so big that it blocked out most of the stars. Then their communication system started beeping with an incoming message. Captain, someone is trying to talk to us, said Mi-Ran Choi from the engine room. She was their engineer and the person who kept their old ship running. But the signal is not in any Earth language. Can you make our translator work with it? Hyunwoo asked. Maybe, Mi-Ran said. Give me a few minutes. I think I can jury-rig something with my phone and the communication array. While Mi-Ran worked on the translator, more alien ships appeared around them. They seemed to be surrounding the Seoul Express, but they kept a respectful distance. Hyunwoo found this strange. If these aliens wanted to capture them, why not just grab their ship with a tractor beam? Got it, Mi-Ran announced. Translation system is online. Not perfect, but we should be able to understand each other. Immediately, a deep voice came through their speakers. The words sounded strange, like they were being translated from something completely different. Unknown vessel. You have entered sovereign space of the Valorian hegemony. Identify your nation of origin and state your purpose. You are ordered to surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded. Hyunwoo looked around the bridge. His crew was staring at him, waiting to see what he would do. They were just a cargo ship. They had no weapons except for a flare gun in the emergency kit. These aliens could probably destroy them without even trying. But Hyunwoo was not the type of person to panic. He had been flying cargo ships for 20 years. He had survived engine failures, pirate attacks, and customs inspections. A few alien warships were not going to ruin his day. He picked up the microphone and spoke in his calmest, most polite voice. "Hello there," he said. "This is Captain Hyunwoo Kim of the Earth cargo vessel Seoul Express. We seem to have gotten lost on our way to Mars. We are not looking for trouble. We just need directions back to the Sol system, if you don't mind. Also, would you like some coffee?" "We have plenty." There was a long silence from the alien ship. Hyunwoo waited patiently, sipping his coffee. He hoped these aliens were reasonable people who could help them get home. High Admiral Thexamora stared at the small ship on his viewing screen. For 30 years, he had commanded the greatest fleet in the Valorian hegemony. He had conquered 12 star systems and defeated the armies of 6 different species. But he had never seen anything like this. The ship called Seoul Express looked like junk. Its hull was covered with patches and repairs. One of its engines was held together with what looked like metal tape. But somehow it had appeared in the middle of his fleet without triggering a single alarm. Their most advanced sensors could barely detect it, even though it was right in front of them. "Sir," said his communications officer, "the alien captain is offering us coffee." Coffee? Thexamora had never heard this word before. Is that some kind of weapon? "Unknown, sir. The translation system cannot identify the substance." Thexamora felt a chill run down his spine. These aliens were so confident that they were offering unknown substances to his fleet. This had to be a warning, a demonstration of power. Only the most dangerous species would be so casual when surrounded by overwhelming firepower. On the Seoul Express, Hyunwoo was getting impatient. The aliens had been silent for 10 minutes. He was starting to worry that their translator was not working properly. "Miran, is the communication system still working?" he asked. "Yes, Captain," Miran replied from the engine room. "I can hear them talking to each other on their ship. They seem very excited about something. Also, I think I fixed that rattling noise in engine number 2. So Young looked up from her navigation console. "Captain, I think I know what went wrong with our jump. When the coffee spilled, it got into my keyboard. Some of the numbers might have been entered wrong." "How wrong?" Hyunwoo asked. "Well, instead of jumping 300 light-years to Mars, we jumped about 3,000 light-years in a completely different direction," So Young said. She looked embarrassed. "Sorry." Hyunwoo rubbed his forehead. 3,000 light-years. They were very far from home. Can you get us back?" "I think so. But I need to be very careful with the calculations this time. No more coffee near the keyboard." Dr. Tae-min Song came onto the bridge carrying his tablet computer. He was their medical officer, but he also studied alien life forms as a hobby. He was very excited. "Captain, this is amazing," Tae-min said. "I have been analyzing their communication signals. These aliens are definitely not from Earth. Look at these biological readings I picked up from their ship." He showed Hyunwoo his tablet. The screen displayed charts and graphs that meant nothing to the captain, but Tae-min was clearly thrilled. "Their body temperature is much lower than humans," Tae-min explained. "They probably come from a cold planet with very little radiation. They might have never seen a sun as bright as ours." The communication system crackled to life again. The alien admiral was speaking and he sounded nervous. "Earth vessel Seoul Express," the translated voice said. "We have never encountered your species before. What galactic power do you represent? Are you scouts for an invasion fleet?" Hyunwoo picked up the microphone. "No, sir. We are just a cargo ship from Earth. We got lost trying to deliver some mining equipment to our Mars colony. We are not scouts or soldiers. We just want to go home." Another long silence. Then the alien voice returned, sounding even more worried. "You claim to come from a planet called Earth. Describe this world." Hyunwoo thought this was a strange request, but he wanted to be polite. "Earth is our home planet. It has blue oceans and green continents. Lots of plants and animals. The weather is nice most of the time, though it can get pretty hot in summer and cold in winter. He heard gasps and worried voices from the alien ship. Taemin was listening carefully and taking notes on his tablet. "Captain," Taemin whispered, "I think they are scared of our planet's description. Their world must be very different from Earth." The alien admiral spoke again. "Your world has liquid water on its surface?" "Yes," Hyunwoo said. "Lots of it. About 70% of the surface is ocean." More gasps from the alien ship. Hyunwoo was starting to understand that these aliens found Earth frightening for some reason. "And you said there are many life forms on this world?" the admiral asked. "Oh yes," Hyunwoo said. "Millions of different species. We have everything from tiny insects to huge whales." Taemin got excited and grabbed the microphone from Hyunwoo. "We have lions, tigers, bears, sharks, poisonous snakes, spiders, crocodiles, and thousands of other species that could kill humans if we are not careful. But we learn to live with them. Some people even keep dangerous animals as pets." The communication channel went silent. Then Hyunwoo heard what sounded like someone fainting on the alien ship. "Taemin," Hyunwoo said quietly, "I think you scared them." "Sorry, Captain. I got excited about the xenobiology possibilities." So Young looked up from her navigation console. "Captain, I think I have the return jump calculated. But there is a problem. Our hyperspace drive is acting strange. It might be because we are so far from home, or maybe because of the coffee that spilled earlier." "What kind of strange?" Hyunwoo asked. "Well, when I try to plot a direct course to Earth, the drive wants to jump somewhere else instead. It is like the navigation system is confused." Miran's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, I am seeing some weird readings from the hyperspace generator. It might help if I recalibrate the whole system." "Do it," Hyunwoo said. So Young began entering the new jump coordinates. But as she pressed the final button, something went wrong. Instead of a normal hyperspace jump, the Seoul Express simply vanished from where it was and appeared on the other side of the alien flagship. The sudden movement caught everyone by surprise. The alien ship's shields were designed to keep things out, but the Seoul Express had somehow appeared inside their defensive perimeter without triggering any alarms. "Oops," So Young said. "Sorry about that. The navigation system is still acting up." On the alien flagship, Admiral Thexmora was staring at his tactical display in shock. The small Earth ship had just done something that should have been impossible. It had moved through their shields as if they were not even there. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the Earth ship just demonstrated the ability to bypass our defensive systems completely. Our shields did not even detect the passage." Thexmora felt his blood turn cold. These Earth creatures were not just from a dangerous death world. They also had technology that was far beyond anything the Valorian hegemony had ever seen. "Open a channel," he commanded. "I think we need to treat these aliens with much more respect." Hyunwoo heard the communication system activate again. This time, the alien admiral's voice sounded very polite and somewhat frightened. "Captain Kim," the admiral said, "perhaps we could arrange a more formal meeting. Would you and your crew be willing to visit our station for diplomatic discussions?" Hyunwoo looked around the bridge. His crew was waiting for his decision. They were lost, far from home, surrounded by alien warships. But these aliens seemed more scared of them than they were of the aliens. "That sounds reasonable," Hyunwoo said, "but we are still hoping someone can give us directions back to Earth." News traveled fast in the Valorian hegemony. Within 6 hours of the Seoul Express arriving, every major species in their territory had heard about the mysterious Earth ship. The story grew bigger with each telling. By the second day, 17 different alien governments had sent messages to the hegemony asking about humanity's intentions. 3 species had declared immediate neutrality with Earth, even though they had never contacted humans before. 2 others had started building stronger defenses around their home worlds. Jin-Ho Lee sat in mission control on Earth, watching his screens with growing confusion. Radio signals were coming from all over the galaxy, and they were all asking about humanity. Most of the messages were in languages that Earth's computers could not translate. "This is very strange," Jin-Ho said to his supervisor. "It looks like Captain Kim and his crew have accidentally started some kind of galactic incident. Can we contact them?" His supervisor asked. "I am trying, but they are too far away for normal radio. I can track their position using the Seoul Express's emergency beacon, but I cannot talk to them." Meanwhile, Admiral Thexmora was having the worst week of his military career. His superiors had ordered him to treat the Earth ship as a diplomatic vessel of the highest importance. He was supposed to escort them to the capital system for formal negotiations. The problem was that the Earthship kept doing impossible things. First, their engineer had fixed 3 critical problems with his flagship's power systems. Miran had simply looked at the failing equipment, hit it with a metal bar, and somehow made it work better than when it was new. Percussive maintenance, she had called it with a smile. Sometimes machines just need a little encouragement. The Valorian chief engineer had needed medical attention after witnessing this miracle of technology. Second, their navigator had solved a tactical problem that had puzzled the hegemony's best military minds for decades. So Young had looked at their war game simulation for 5 minutes, then casually suggested a solution that won every scenario. You just need to think differently about space, she had explained. Instead of treating it like an ocean, treat it like a 3-dimensional puzzle. Also, nuclear weapons are very effective for area denial. The mention of nuclear weapons had caused 2 Valorian officers to faint. Third, their doctor had offered to share human medical knowledge. Taman had shown them videos of human surgery, explaining how Earth doctors could cut people open, remove diseased parts, and sew them back together. Sometimes we even replace entire organs, he had said cheerfully. Hearts, lungs, kidneys. We can keep people alive while we rebuild them. 3 alien diplomats had required hospitalization for shock. Now the Seoul Express was approaching the hegemony capital, and Admiral Thexmora was dreading what would happen next. Captain Kim, he said over the communication channel, we are approaching Nexus Prime, the heart of our civilization. Would you like an escort through our traffic control system? That would be helpful, Hyunwoo replied. This is a busy place. We don't want to bump into anyone. The capital system was indeed busy. Thousands of ships moved along carefully controlled traffic lanes around a massive artificial world. The planet-sized space station housed over 10 billion inhabitants from dozens of different species. So Young was studying her navigation display with interest. Captain, their traffic control system is very sophisticated. Look how they manage all these ships without any collisions. Can you follow their guidance signals? Hyunwoo asked. I think so. Let me just adjust our course to match their recommended flight path. So Young entered some commands into her navigation system. There, that should do it. But once again, something went wrong. Instead of following the designated traffic lane, the Seoul Express jumped forward several thousand kilometers and appeared directly in front of the space station's main docking port. They had somehow skipped past 3 security checkpoints and 2 inspection stations. Oops, So Young said. The navigation system is still acting strange. Sorry about that. On Nexus Prime, emergency alarms were sounding throughout the traffic control center. The Earthship had just demonstrated the ability to move through their most secure space without being detected by any of their sensors. How did they do that? Demanded Fleet Commander Zix Thera, the station's military governor. We don't know, sir, replied his chief of security. Our scanners show that they never moved. But clearly they did move, because they are now in a completely different location. Could they teleport? Teleportation is theoretically impossible, sir, but so is everything else this ship has done. Ambassador Eunji Kang had arrived on Nexus Prime 3 hours earlier aboard Earth's fastest diplomatic vessel. She had been hastily appointed as humanity's representative after the world governments realized that first contact was happening, whether they were ready or not. Eunji was a trade negotiator by training. She had spent her career dealing with difficult business partners and impossible contracts. But she had never negotiated with aliens before, and she was starting to feel overwhelmed. Ms. Kang, said her alien liaison, a nervous creature that looked like a cross between a squid and a business suit. The Hegemony Council is very eager to establish formal relations with humanity. They have prepared several treaty proposals for your consideration. Eunji looked at the stack of documents. Each one was at least 100 pages long, written in dense legal language that had been translated from alien concepts she could barely understand. This is a lot of paperwork, she said. What exactly are they offering? Territorial concessions, trade agreements, military cooperation treaties, cultural exchange programs. The liaison explained. The Council is prepared to offer humanity a very favorable position in the galactic community. Why? Eunji asked. We just got here by accident. The liaison's tentacles twitched nervously. Your species has demonstrated remarkable capabilities. The Council believes that friendly relations with humanity would be beneficial for everyone involved. What Yunji did not know was that the Hegemony Council was terrified. They had spent the past 2 days analyzing everything they knew about humans, and the conclusions were frightening. Humans came from a death world where the environment was actively trying to kill them. They had survived by becoming incredibly adaptable and resourceful. They had developed weapons capable of destroying their own planet, then decided not to use them. They had technology that could bypass the most advanced defensive systems in the galaxy. Most terrifying of all, they seemed completely unaware of how dangerous they appeared to other species. The Seoul Express docked at the station's diplomatic port. Hyunwoo and his crew were greeted by a delegation of the most important officials in the hegemony. They were treated like visiting royalty, which confused them greatly. "This is very nice," Hyunwoo said to Admiral Thex Mora, "but we still just want to go home. Do you have star charts for the Sol system?" "We are working on that," Thex Mora replied. "But perhaps your crew would like to tour our facilities while we prepare the navigation data?" Miran was excited about seeing alien technology. Taemin wanted to study alien biology. So Young was curious about their mathematics and engineering. Even Hyunwoo admitted that it would be interesting to see how other species lived. "Okay," he said. "A short tour would be nice. But we do have a delivery to make on Mars. We don't want to be too late." The aliens exchanged glances. These humans were so powerful that they could appear anywhere in the galaxy without warning, yet they were worried about being late for a cargo delivery. This was either the most sophisticated military deception ever attempted, or humans really were just as straightforward as they seemed. Either way, the Hegemony Council was determined to keep them happy. The Valorian Military Academy was the most prestigious training facility in the Hegemony. For 200 years, it had produced the finest officers in the galaxy. Its tactical simulation programs were considered so advanced that they were used to test the strategic thinking of entire civilizations. Professor Velnara had been teaching military strategy for 40 years. She had never met a problem that her students could not solve with enough time and careful analysis. That was before So-Young Park walked into her classroom. "Welcome to our academy," Professor Velnara said to the human visitors. "We have prepared some of our most challenging tactical scenarios for your review. These problems have stumped even our best graduates." So-Young looked at the holographic display showing the first scenario. It was a 3-dimensional space battle with multiple fleets, complex terrain, and dozens of variables to consider. The alien students usually needed several hours to work through each problem. "Oh, this is interesting," So-Young said. She studied the display for about 30 seconds. "You need to create a nuclear exclusion zone here, here, and here. Then you use quantum tunneling to bypass their sensor grid and strike at their command ships while they are distracted by the radiation cleanup." The entire classroom fell silent. Professor Velnara checked her computer. According to the simulation, So-Young's solution would work perfectly. It would end the battle in less than 10 minutes with minimal casualties, but nuclear weapons, Professor Velnara stammered. "You would irradiate entire sectors of space." So-Young shrugged. "It's just temporary radiation. It clears up after a few years. We used nuclear weapons on our own planet twice, and those cities are fine now." Several students in the classroom started hyperventilating. "You used nuclear weapons on your own world?" Professor Velnara asked. "Oh yes," Taemin said helpfully. "We built thousands of them during our Cold War. Enough to destroy Earth several times over. We called it mutually assured destruction. It worked pretty well for keeping the peace." Professor Velnara sat down heavily in her chair. These humans casually discussed planetary annihilation as if it were a normal part of diplomacy. What kind of species thought this way? "How many nuclear weapons does humanity currently possess?" she asked weakly. "About 13,000, Hyunwoo said. "Maybe 14,000. I don't keep track of the exact numbers." 14,000, but don't worry, Hyunwoo continued. "We only use them for peaceful purposes now. Power generation, mining, moving asteroids. Sometimes we use them to stop other asteroids from hitting Earth. Very practical." The professor's assistant rushed over with a medical scanner. Professor Velnara's heart rate was approaching dangerous levels. While the Academy's medical team attended to their instructor, So-Young continued solving their tactical problems. Each scenario that had taken months to develop was resolved in minutes. She approached warfare with the same casual efficiency that she brought to navigation. "This one is easy," she said, looking at a simulation of a siege. "You just need to think about total war doctrine. cut off their supply lines, destroy their industrial capacity, and target their civilian infrastructure until they surrender. It's basic economic warfare. More alien students required medical attention. In the Academy's engineering section, Miran was having a wonderful time. She had been asked to examine a training simulator that had been broken for 6 months. The Academy's best technicians had declared it beyond repair. Miran looked at the device for 5 minutes, then removed a panel and started poking around inside with a screwdriver. "The problem is here," she announced. "Your power coupling is misaligned and this crystal matrix has developed microfractures. Also, someone installed this component backwards." She pulled out a piece of alien technology that looked like it might power a small city. The watching engineers gasped in horror as she casually tossed it to one side. "Don't worry," Miran said, noticing their expressions. "I won't break it. I learned how to fix complicated machinery by watching video tutorials on the internet." "Video tutorials?" asked Chief Engineer Korvalin. "YouTube," Miran explained. "It's a website where people share educational videos. You can learn anything there. I fixed my first Starship engine using a video made by a teenager in his garage." She pulled some spare parts from her toolkit and began reassembling the machine. The parts were not designed to work together, but Miran had learned long ago that most technology followed similar basic principles. "There," she said, closing the panel. "Try it now." Chief Engineer Korvalin activated the simulator. It not only worked perfectly, but it was running at 300% efficiency. The device was now more powerful than when it had been built. "How?" he whispered. "Percussive maintenance, creative engineering, and a little bit of luck," Miran said with a smile. "Also, your original design was too complicated. Simple solutions are usually better." The chief engineer stared at the machine that should not work but clearly did. Then he quietly walked away to rethink everything he thought he knew about technology. Across the station, Jin-Ho Lee had arrived from Earth aboard humanity's newest deep space vessel. The Busan Pioneer had been built quickly using every piece of advanced technology that human scientists could think of. It was part exploration ship, part laboratory, and part diplomatic vessel. To human eyes, it was an impressive achievement. To alien observers, it was a technological impossibility. "How does your ship function?" asked Station Commander Zixthera, reviewing the scanner readings. "Our instruments detect 17 different propulsion systems, 12 incompatible power sources, and what appears to be a kitchen that violates several laws of physics." Jin-Ho looked confused. "It's just a standard exploration vessel. We put everything we could think of into the design. Better to have too many options than not enough. But these systems should not be able to work together," the commander insisted. "Your main reactor uses antimatter containment, but your backup systems are fusion-powered. Your navigation array combines quantum computing with biological neural networks. Your life support system appears to be partially magical." "Not magical," Jin-Ho corrected. "We just used some theoretical technology that we weren't sure would work. Turned out pretty well, though." The commander stared at him. These humans had built a ship using untested theoretical technology, and their response to success was, "Turned out pretty well." Meanwhile, Ambassador Yunji was in the middle of the most confusing negotiation of her career. The Hegemony Council was offering humanity things that she was not sure they deserved. "So you want to give us exclusive trading rights in the Cygnus sector?" she asked. "Yes," replied Council Speaker Tharavan, "and mining concessions in the Vega system, and a permanent seat on the Strategic Defense Committee. What do we have to do in return?" "Just continue being yourselves," Yunji frowned. This was the strangest deal she had ever seen. In her experience, when someone offered you something for nothing, it meant they were either desperate or planning to cheat you. "There must be something you want from us," she said. The council members exchanged nervous glances. Finally, the speaker answered, "We would appreciate your advice on difficult situations, conflicts that require creative solutions, problems that normal diplomacy cannot solve. You want us to be consultants?" In a manner of speaking, yes. What the speaker did not explain was that the hegemony had enemies. Dangerous enemies who had been quiet recently because they were too busy trying to figure out what humanity was capable of. The council hoped that having humans as allies would discourage anyone from testing their defenses. "I need to discuss this with my government," Yunji said. "These decisions are above my authority level." "Of course," the speaker replied. "Take all the time you need. We are in no hurry." But privately, the council was very much in a hurry. Intelligence reports suggested that several hostile species were mobilizing their fleets. The hegemony needed powerful allies, and humanity seemed to be the most powerful species anyone had encountered in centuries. They just hoped the humans would agree to help before anyone realized that this terrifying spacefaring civilization was actually just a small group of very confused cargo ship operators. 6 months after the Seoul Express accidentally entered alien space, Captain Hyunwoo Kim finally got permission to complete his original cargo run. The mining equipment that was supposed to be delivered to Mars Colony 7 had been sitting in his cargo hold all this time, gathering dust while he dealt with galactic diplomacy. The Valorian hegemony offered to escort him with a full battle fleet. 12 Dreadnought-class warships, 30 cruisers, and over 100 support vessels were prepared to ensure the safe delivery of what they assumed must be incredibly important military supplies. "This is really not necessary," Hyunwoo told Admiral Thexmora over the communication channel. "It's just some mining equipment. Drills, conveyor belts, processing units. Nothing special." "Of course, Captain Kim," the Admiral replied. "We understand the importance of maintaining operational security regarding strategic materials." Hyunwoo sighed. No matter how many times he explained that he was just a cargo hauler, the aliens insisted on treating him like some kind of military genius. It was flattering, but also exhausting. So Young had become famous throughout the galaxy as a tactical mastermind. Universities were teaching courses based on her revolutionary approach to navigation and warfare. She had been offered positions as a strategic advisor to 6 different governments, all because she had made a few lucky guesses and spilled coffee on her keyboard. "Captain," she said from her navigation station, "I have calculated our route to Mars. Are you ready for the jump?" "Please be very careful this time," Hyunwoo said. "I don't want to accidentally start another diplomatic incident." "Don't worry. I have triple-checked all the coordinates. We should arrive exactly where we are supposed to be." The Seoul Express jumped to hyperspace, followed by the largest military escort in hegemony history. They emerged in the Sol system right on schedule, much to everyone's relief. Earth's space traffic control was very surprised to see a massive alien fleet appear near Mars. "Seoul Express. This is Mars Control," came the radio message. "Please explain why you have brought what appears to be an entire alien armada to our solar system." "Mars Control, this is Captain Kim," Hyunwoo replied. "I am here to deliver mining equipment to Colony 7. The aliens are just being helpful." "Mining equipment?" "Yes. The shipment that was supposed to arrive 6 months ago. Sorry for the delay. We got a little lost." There was a long pause from Mars Control. Then, "Captain Kim, you have been missing for 6 months. Earth has been very worried about you. Also, there are news crews from 17 different planets wanting to interview you." Hyunwoo looked around the bridge at his crew. Miran was reading technical manuals from 3 different alien civilizations. Taemin was writing a research paper about xenobiology. So Young was designing new navigation algorithms. Jinho was managing trade negotiations between Earth and 12 alien species. Somehow, his simple cargo crew had become the most famous humans in the galaxy. "Mars Control," he said, "we're going to need a very large docking bay." The mining equipment was finally delivered to Mars Colony 7, only 3 months behind schedule. The colony administrator was initially annoyed about the delay, but his attitude changed quickly when he learned about the valuable trade agreements that had been negotiated during the trip. "Captain Kim," he said, "Earth's government has been very busy while you were gone. We now have formal diplomatic relations with the Valorian hegemony, trade deals with 15 alien species, and technology exchange programs with 6 different civilizations." "That's nice," Hyunwoo said. "Does this mean I get a bonus for the diplomatic work?" "Actually, yes. You have been promoted to Special Ambassador for Interstellar Relations." "I don't want to be an ambassador. I just want to fly cargo ships. Too bad. Earth needs you to represent humanity in galactic affairs." Miran had opened her own engineering consulting company. Her business cards read, "Creative Solutions for Impossible Problems." She had more work than she could handle, fixing alien technology that their own engineers had given up on. Her first rule was simple. "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" This phrase had been translated into 47 different alien languages and was now considered a fundamental principle of universal engineering. Taimine had revolutionized alien medicine by introducing the concept of sleeping it off. Many alien species had been treating minor illnesses with complex medical procedures, not realizing that sometimes the best cure was just rest and time. He had also accidentally started a galaxy-wide fitness craze by mentioning that humans like to exercise for fun. The idea of deliberately making yourself tired and sweaty for entertainment was so bizarre that millions of aliens wanted to try it. So Young had become the most sought-after navigation instructor in known space. Her course, Creative Mathematical Imprecision, was banned in 14 star systems because her methods were considered too dangerous for normal space travel. She had also written a best-selling book called Getting Lost and Finding Success, which was really just a collection of her navigation mistakes with explanations of how they accidentally worked out well. Jin-Ho had established Earth's first interstellar trade network. Human products were incredibly popular with alien species, especially coffee, kimchi, and Korean television. Dramas. 3 alien civilizations had completely restructured their governments after watching K-dramas and deciding that humans had better ideas about romance and family relationships. Ambassador Eun-ji had successfully negotiated humanity into a position as the hegemony's special peacekeeping advisors. This was a fancy way of saying that when 2 alien species couldn't resolve their differences through normal diplomacy, they asked humans to suggest creative solutions. Most of these solutions involved either sharing food or threatening to use nuclear weapons. Both approaches worked surprisingly well. The Seoul Express was now permanently assigned to diplomatic missions, much to Hyun-woo's dismay. He had wanted to go back to simple cargo runs, but Earth's government insisted that he was too valuable as humanity's unofficial ambassador. "Captain," So Young said one day, "we have received another mission request. The Andromedans and the Centaurians are having a territorial dispute. They want us to mediate." "What's the problem?" Hyun-woo asked. "Both species want to colonize the same star system. They have been arguing about it for 50 years. "That's easy," Hyun-woo said. "Tell them to share it. Half for each species. If they can't agree on which half, flip a coin." So Young sent this suggestion to both governments. Within a week, they had reached a peaceful agreement and signed a permanent friendship treaty. The solution was so simple that neither species had thought of it. This became typical of human diplomacy. Problems that had seemed impossible to solve were resolved with common sense, shared meals, and the occasional threat of overwhelming violence. The galaxy began to change. Species that had been enemies for centuries started talking to each other. Trade increased. Wars became less common. Everyone wanted to be friends with the humans, partly because they were helpful and partly because they were terrified of what might happen if they made humanity angry. Hyun-woo never did get back to simple cargo runs. But he did get used to his new job as humanity's most reluctant diplomat. The pay was good, the work was interesting, and the coffee was always excellent. Besides, someone had to keep an eye on his crew. Left to their own devices, they might accidentally conquer the galaxy. On Earth, historians were already writing books about humanity's first contact with alien civilizations. They called it the Great Misunderstanding, the day that a cargo ship full of ordinary people accidentally convinced the galaxy that humans were the most dangerous species in known space. The truth was simpler. Humans weren't more dangerous than other species. They were just more creative, more adaptable, and much better at improvising solutions to impossible problems. They were also completely unimpressed by things that seemed amazing to everyone else. When you came from a planet where the weather could kill you, the local wildlife was actively hostile, and your own species had invented weapons capable of destroying the world. A few alien warships didn't seem like such a big deal, and that, more than anything else, was what made humanity truly terrifying to the rest of the galaxy.